Hiya, it's LindaLee, and I thought I would bring you along while I do a little bit of my finger painting, but this time with coffee. Before we do that though, I'm going to show you what happened with the avocado stuff that I did a few days ago. So this is the paper that was under me. Remember I told you I always kind of cover my table with paper and then I use them later. I'm going to be doing a floral motivational journal next, and I think I'm going to use this paper because it looks kind of almost perfect, but it's a different texture, a little bit different color because it's a different kind of paper, but yeah, so it gives me a little bit something more to kind of choose from. And also, this is the avocado stuff that I sprayed and went over with my fingers. So I've got some envelopes and larger envelopes. But see how it doesn't completely cover? I really like that myself. So here there's a little bit of white. Yeah. So, and I have a larger envelope that I did. This is the one that's got the security on the inside. I don't like that because you kind of see it through. So I'll probably, when I do something with this, I'll probably end up covering most of it. But this is a little embossed piece of paper that I was like showing pockets on my little envelope booklet. But, cool, huh? So anyway, this is just the avocado stuff, restocking my avocado. I did a couple file folders too. I don't think I did that on camera, but now I'm gonna do some coffee stuff. I'm gonna basically do the same thing just with coffee, and being that I don't like fully saturate the paper, it dries pretty quick. So I just have an overhead fan on, and I have another piece of paper down. Let's go ahead and I'm going to move this stuff to the side. We'll do some of the little stuff first. And then the papers. I did grab another one of those big security envelopes so that I have it done. I don't think I'm going to use it in this journal, but at the same time, I just need to have a little bit more available on hand. Oh, I'm running out of space to put stuff. Alright, so I have my water. This is actually leftover coffee from yesterday. I just put in my new fancy spray bottle. It's got really nice action. And we're just gonna spray some stuff. I don't know if I'm gonna rub my finger over all of it or not, because like I said, I kind of like that little speckle and I want there to be a little more lighter color in this journal. But let's see. And then the papers usually kind of curl. So by spraying it on the other side, it doesn't curl up as much. But we still get our speckled looks. See? So I'm just gonna kind of stack them right here. Always remember to kind of open your envelope so you don't glue them shut. I've done it, so I'm just saying. Especially when they're drying, you want to make sure that they're kind of face up. And then I have a beach towel behind me. Then I'm just going to lay all these on. So these aren't going to be as saturated and dark as like baking them in the oven would be. But I don't want, that's exactly what I don't want. I don't want that dark, crunchy look for this particular journal. I want it to be a little bit lighter. both in color and in feeling. And see, since they're not fully saturated, like I said, they'll take almost no time to dry. Let me just put this behind me. These are just little drawing paper pieces. So ultimately, like journal cards, instead of using index cards, I'll just use these. But again, it's, I'm not sure what time it is. I think it's like maybe 10:30 in the morning, and it's already 90 degrees outside. So the ultimate goal is to not turn on the stove. Yesterday we tried to do a meatloaf in the air fryer. That did not turn out as well as we had hoped. It's just a matter of getting the timing right, which we didn't. We overcooked it, and so it had a crusty exterior. It wasn't bad tasting, it just definitely wasn't pretty. That's for sure. So we probably won't be doing that again. Not without some major adjustments, at least. Hey, you live and you learn. How do you know if you don't try something, right? How do you know? How do you know if you like, you know, sushi unless you try it? How do you know? How do you know you don't like bowling unless you try it, right? I don't know why I selected bowling as the analogy, but I haven't been bowling in years. A couple more of these, and then we'll move on to the larger envelope. I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing this. Of course, like I said, it's pretty quick anyways. But again, just showing you the technique just with a different water. This time it's coffee. And then I'll show you what it all looks like when it's dry. On this video, we'll put it at the end. Because I want to make sure it's all kind of encapsulated, all the information in one video, if that makes sense at all. So let me just put this behind me real quick. The one nice thing about doing it this way too is, you know, once they're dry, if they're not dark enough to however you want them, you can always spray it again. But like I said, this time I just want them to be not fully saturated looking. Now my paper on the bottom is getting wet enough that I could probably almost just lay stuff on top of it. Now these particular envelopes are newer, and they're actually too big for the journal that I want to use, but I might be able to, you know, like cut them down or fold them in half. Probably use them folded in half. But see, it's pretty quick. My other ones are almost dry already. The little ones that I did first. And I have glass under this table, or under this paper. So my wood top is nice and protected. I usually do this, like I said in the other video, in my living room on the coffee table, but it's kind of difficult to video out there, so we're in studio today. Alright, let's do a few pages of journal paper, or ledger paper really, I guess it is. So if you didn't hear kind of the guidelines that I'm working within for this next little journal, it's a floral motivational one for a strong woman. I'm making this for a friend that's actually going to give it to somebody else. I don't want to give too information because I'm really not sure who watches and doesn't watch. And then once it's done, you know, I'll hold off showing the whole thing until, you know, the gift has been given. Okay, and got a couple more pages of this. Let me grab them. And then I'll take a second to set it all on the side. Two more. Oops. Sorry about that, folks. I might ultimately be too close, but okay. So I'm going to go ahead and move this stuff aside. I'll be right back. So I have all that on the floor now drying. I have a few pieces of drawing paper that I want to use. I'm going to use them to kind of flatten out and crease the bottom paper a little bit. Another really nice thing about doing it this way too is it's almost like tea dyeing because it's so nice and light, and that's one of the differences between coffee and tea is coffee is usually a darker medium, if you want to call it that, to use on the paper. Let's give it a little bit more. So how's my lighting? It's hard to tell. I have some natural light this morning. The sun's shining. Maybe I should turn the light on just to be sure. The camera will adjust. If you let them dry over top of each other too, one of the papers usually pulls the color or coffee or tea or whatever it is you're using from the other paper, so it actually leaves a mark. which is fine if that's what you're going after, but see how there's a little line here? I don't want that. I want each of these to be independent of the other color-wise. So two more. And we're almost through. I have a couple of pieces of graph paper and then some regular copy paper, and we'll be done. And my first envelopes, they actually look like they're dry. So I have a great fan in this room. This is, uh-oh, what happened? Uh-oh, my bottle just seized up. Well, that's awful. Oh, for crying out loud. Here we go. No. Oh, geez. Alrighty then. So let's go ahead and finish what I got going on here. We'll just use this one to wet that one. And vice versa. And then I'll be back. Let me see if I can fix that. We'll see in a few minutes. Okay, so I'm not sure what's going on, but it doesn't look like I'm going to get that fixed. So I want to at least put some coffee on. This is white seam binding that I just want the similar color to everything else. And then I'm just going to kind of push the coffee to some of the outer edges of this paper, because remember I use this too. Actually, let's just go ahead and I'm going to pour a little on here and take it to the other side a little bit off camera. So sorry for the interruption. I didn't get my copy paper done, but that's okay. I have another bottle. Actually, I have other smaller ones too, but that's enough for the moment anyways. So I'll come back and show you the dry stuff. This won't be dry. This will probably take a little bit for it to dry out. Be right back. Okay, I am back, and most everything is dry. The bigger envelopes, I'm just giving them a few more minutes, so by the time I'm done showing you these, I'll pull those over just to give you a glimpse of what they look like. But here are the smaller envelopes, and like I said, so if I put this against a white piece of paper, you can kind of see how it's nice and soft, the different color. And again, if I wanted them a little darker, I could always just spray them again. but that's exactly what I wanted, so we're good for them. The guest checks are also perfect. Just give them a little bit of grunge without making them look, you know, totally dark, because that's not what I want. I want to keep this one light and airy because I'm trying to be somewhat delicate. But we're going to bring in some bolder colors, and we're going to keep everything sharp edged. I'm probably going to do some grooming on the pages, meaning like trimming the corners to be rounded. Now for the green paper, it really didn't do a lot as far as leaving stains. It's very, very subtle, but it knocked the brightness down. So it's not as bright a green anymore, which is exactly what I was going for. So I'm happy with that. And I have more green than I need, but you never have too much treated papers. The little pieces here, we did get some of the drawing paper done, so it's got some variations. Here, put this behind. So this was a white paper too, and it's got some variations. So again, just subtle. I didn't want something really strong and extreme with this one. See here, there is a corner of one of the other ones that probably got left there a little longer while I was putting the coffee on the pile, and it just left a little shadow, which is fine. Especially if you want those sharp angles in there. That's really cool too. So that's that. The bigger pieces of the drawing paper. This turned out really cool. It puddled just a little bit. And these two were the first two, I think. So perfect, exactly what I was looking for. And I love leaving the perforated detail on the paper. You'll see that once I get them in the journal. What's nice is I can even weave in, you know, like a sari silk or a ribbon if I wanted to. So with whatever's going on with the trigger action on that bottle, I didn't get any of the copy paper done. So I do have another bottle that I'll mess with that off camera. I don't need to take you on that struggle with me. But let me see what the bigger envelopes look like. They should be almost completely dry now too. Okay, so they are still slightly damp, which you can kind of see probably. I'm not sure. But I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to this journal. Alright, so that's really all I have for right now. I just wanted to show you that you can do that treatment that I did with the avocado water with coffee as well. And that it gives you, you know, a lighter subtle and actually more of like a speckled detail is available that way. I like it myself. I like it better than the full saturation in a lot of cases. It just depends on what you're really doing. So that's it until the next video. So it'll be fun. We'll see you soon.